I was going to start school and happy, going to go with my sisters in September. And instead, I end up evacuating, going here and there. By the time I started school, which then the school was Franco, he was learning all the songs about Franco and Falange, Tradicionalista de las Rons, drawing the flechas, yunque y las flechas, perfect. I was quite good in writing because he was always writing cow-copying things. And it was awful. Thank goodness, Billy, at home, they were teaching me because at school, to start with, 1 year, I go to a place, everybody spoke Basque. So at home, Castellano, no surprise, I couldn't say zanahorias, I used to say zanahorias. And they take time to make, I mean, people of my age, it was a terrible time because they destroyed completely. Yeah. And then, I think that's why so many people we escape, because then after Franco died, it was different. It was a little bit better, not much. But you couldn't do anything, definitely, it was awful.
What do you remember from when the war was finished? What was it like when the war was finished and he was in charge?
Very confusing for me, because we went to a place that though it was in the war, even the things were worse than the war, because during the war we were in a village. We have everything with it, you know. But then, as I said, you know, if you want sugar, you want coffee, you want this, you have to have money. And then you pay, you could get it. You didn't pay, you couldn't get it. Everything ration, very little. And you couldn't do that, you couldn't do the other things. The church was very strong. Everything was mortal sin, you had to be very careful. You couldn't go without stockings. We had the police once, I was 12, I think, because we didn't have socks or anything, and it was summer. And we ran to a house, and there is a pair of socks, my friend and me, and we go, because we went in part of the Bilbao, which it was a different alcalde. And that women, they cannot go with things. It was awful.
And what was Barcelona like? When you went to go and live with Tia Felisa, what was Barcelona like?
What?
What was Barcelona like when you were sent there?
Barcelona, they were more lucky, I think, because they couldn't, but somehow they didn't lose the language. But then, funny enough, I remember from my cousin, then they were complaining because they put first language, Catalan, second language, Spanish, Castilian. And then the parents, they start to realize that if you stay in Barcelona, Catalonia, fine. What happens if you want to work somewhere else?
Mm.
You wouldn't have the grammar, you wouldn't have the thing. So it was a lot of confusion, really, even for grown-ups. It was terrible. That's when I see all these wars we saw, these children, they have no future.
Mm.
I see these children, difficult for them if they find a future. Because you never forget what you saw.
What did you see?
I didn't see as what is there, but you know, I don't know, because then you saw, after the war, people that were taken away to prison. The priest, he was with the hands like that, because he was preaching in Basque. He was taken away. The father of his little girl I was playing, he was hiding in the mountains, and somebody said is there. They got him just because he was the owner of the Bachoqui. The Bachoqui is la Casa del Pueblo, which is everything organized there, the fronton, the things. And that was, for Franco, that was being against him, just that. And he was taken, he never came out.
And your cousin as well, right?
And my cousin, he was taken because he was in the war, and it was something to do with the in the Basque things, he has something because he has a car. They could get the car from there, and it took us to one place and the other to recollect the whole family. And they took us to the house of the mother-in-law, which it was the old house because they didn't use it, and they put all of us there, the different floor and things, till we went to France.
And how long were you in France for?
I don't know. I know that I was very pleased when I had the measles, and they was taken to the hospital, and it was so nice to sleep in bed, and it was in seats and everything, and I have coffee in the morning and things like that. Yeah, it was awful, especially when I went back. And that woman decided, because her child died, and she decided that I was hers. And my sister was bullied. I mean, I was unlucky. In France, they take me away from the family. They showered me with a horrendous, I still remember that smell. Awful.
And how old were you when you went to Barcelona?
That was my father. Can you imagine? He decided that I was too spoiled by my sisters and my mother. That was the crime I committed. And he sent me to the president in Barcelona, and she will find a job. 14 years old I was, and he said to go back to school. I didn't. I was sent to Barcelona. Naturally, nobody gets a job to a child 14 years old. So in the end, my mother said she wanted me back. So they took me back.
How long are you there for?
Nearly a year.
Really?
Wasted, doing nothing, doing what my aunt told me to do. She wanted me to do something, I had to do it. Because she was very strict, this one. Yeah. And always could say, why my father didn't like me? And Pili and Lydia said, no, you are wrong. And my mother said, no, you are wrong. I said, no, wrong. Why I was sent there? I still, in my brain, why I was sent there? So, no, the war, it was bad. But after the war, it was worse. I think that was the worst part. The people that were taken away from the home. Yeah. My cousin apparently, the wife, my cousin, went to see him. He was detained for years. He was already, the war finished and everything. The Second War was finished, and he was still there. And he wasn't there anymore. And they said to her, oh, he has a cold shower after lunch. And the digestion cut and died. And what happened is that somebody shouted, Gora Euskadi Askatuta, which is God's life, Euskadi. And they took who is, like the film that we saw, who is, and nobody did it. You remember it's a film? So they took the string and chin, and they shoot them in front of the others. I said, you see what can happen. When they came out years back, already in the late 60s, when nobody believed that he died, because he used to play pelota vasca, he was very sport, he used to have a little ship, boat and go skipping. No way, he had many cold showers in his life. Yeah. It was awful, awful, awful. The horrible thing is, in that year, when the war finished, they didn't have food, they didn't have a lot of things, but it was peace. But there, it was more war. People still wanted to fight against the Franco. It was terrible. And on top of it, no food. Terrible. You couldn't talk.
And when you were in Barcelona, you were selling bread.
Oh my God! Because that's it. My uncle was a
Baker.
baker, so he was extra baking, and my aunt used to go to Barcelona downstairs because he lives in Valverdera, and sell it to the houses and make a lot of money. And so she took me with her, showed me how to go there and the places and everything. And because she was pregnant on the second child, she couldn't go anymore. So she sent me, a child that could get lost in Bilbao, sent to Barcelona, got lost so many times with a bloody bread. No.
Weren't you scared you'd ever get caught with the bread?
I don't think anybody thought that girl is going with the bag. No. But it was unfair. And thank goodness they brought me back, and thank goodness, you know, I was lucky because then by then things became more peaceful, and they start to have the ships going there and whatever. And thank goodness, you know, my father came on holidays because I was always terrified of him. And definitely he did not like me because I had too much attention. He did not like the attention I had from my mother, definitely. And I heard somebody once saying that the father, in the end something happened and it was terrible, and it was just the attention she has for the children that meant that they don't like. So